Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark, and bonus episode 43. What's the topic? Chaos Unbound. It's going to be a fun episode. Joining me today, we got Gerald.
Hello and good evening.
Welcome. I'm excited to talk some chaos with you. I don't think me or you are particularly chaosy people, but, that doesn't mean we can't try.
Oh, yeah. I think there are some things to admire about it. So, I'm always keen to hear more about it. So,
Yeah. Like, I like it, but, I'm never, the guy running around yelling blood for the blood god, I could be if I wanted to, but not fully.
Toasty, you've been called out, just so you know, blood for the blood god, all that shit.
Just me and you for the minute. We do have Court coming eventually here. There's some miscommunication on my end on time zones, but he's on his way. But until then, we'll just carry on the show. Today's episode is about Chaos Unbound, and it's kind of this concept I've been working on myself here for a little bit. You guys might have heard me talk about it, and we'll talk about it some more tonight. But before we get into it, we'll just do some quick housekeeping. If you want merchandise, we sell merchandise through Redbubble. You can go to Redbubble, you can buy t-shirts, you can buy banners, you can buy dice bags, all types of fun stuff. So go check out Redbubble.
I really need to get in. I really need to get in on that.
Yeah,
I need to own up on some Lorehammer merch since I've been part of this crew for
Lorehammer Speedo. I will send you a Lorehammer Speedo.
Yes, all for the OnlyFans calendar, correct?
Yes, correct, Amundo. Yep.
Gosh. just something to get Bobby Jack started.
Oh god.
Oh boy, here we go. Anyways, so join the Imperial Tithe. You've heard us go over this a lot before. It's for just $2.50 per month. You get ad-free versions on Spotify. That's a lot of good stuff because we all hate ads. I mean, it sucks. And then for $5, you get access to the live stream and the video where you get to see our lovely shining faces.
Yeah. And to access the video, join the Patreon. We have that live chat room. It's going off right now. People are talking about dice bags in there. For only $140,000, you can buy a dice bag, is apparently what the chat's telling me. I think this might be a little high. Hell of a deal. You can also be a calling guest at the end of the show, so those are always a lot of fun. All right, well, look at this. Look who just sneaked into the chat room. Welcome there, Corey.
Okay, I'm here.
Hey!
Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah. I saw your message that says we'll push it back a half hour, like 20 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, I guess we're going a half hour later. But what you meant was a half hour from what we had originally set. So either way, I'm here.
Sometimes that happens. It's fun doing time zones, man, or whatever, but we're all here. We're ready.
It's wild. Yes. Gerald, good to see you. Mark, good to see you.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have recorded together.
We have not.
We have not.
No.
Nice.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. Fun episode tonight. Chaos Unbound. Let's go over what we're going to go over in this episode. Quick little recap on the warp. Then we'll talk about the different paths of chaos. There's many different ways you can follow chaos, whether you go renegade, undivided, maybe you're more esoteric and you go Malal, or maybe you're cool like me and you'd go unbound. But yeah, we'll talk about what unbound really is, the different energies that gather. We'll talk about them, the realm that it potentially has, how the Legion or its demons manifest, all these types of things, the worship, emotions that feed it, numbers, symbols, all those fun stuff. Then we'll talk about the unbound legions, which are the demons of this type of chaos. Different types for sure. These are all not canon too. I'll get into a little disclaimer in a bit. And then we got the cult of the unbound, where we're talking about loyalists, unknown heretics, renegades, dark mechanicus, night houses, titan legions, xenos, even all types of fun stuff to talk about. Came up with a bunch of different little cults and stuff in here for following this warband to give you different ideas on how warbands might follow. So it'll be cool to go through those. Some context about Unbound. Unbound is not a real concept. It's close. It could be. It almost was, but it never was named or actually officially made up. But basically, Chaos Unbound, it's if you use the powers of the warp, but you don't serve any gods. So basically, the easiest way I can think of it is you make your plasma gun, except instead of it being fed off of like energy of like your solar coils or whatever, it's being powered by the warp. So you're channeling warp energy into your plasma gun to use the warp energy as a way to power your gun. That's Unbound. You're harnessing the warp. We talked about this in a handful of episodes that, just when I was kind of gathering thoughts and brainstorming this, we kind of did a couple episodes. So go check out episode 169, Chaos Undivided. This was primarily about Undivided, but there was some brainstorming at the very end about Unbound. And then we jumped to 178, Malice's Cult of the Doomed Ones. And at the back quarter of this episode, once again, we talk about Unbound. This was high-level talk about the followers. I think it was really brainstorming. I don't think it was very specific. So we're going to dial that in this episode for sure. I kind of wish I didn't put that in there, Malal and Unbound. I kind of lumped them together, but they definitely don't go together. And we'll talk more about that in a bit here. But yeah, this is episode 43, bonus episode 43, Chaos Unbound. In this episode, we will kind of consolidate all that information into this one. So some information might be repeated, but it's just so that we got it all here. Ooh.
Pretty nice and succinct.
Yeah. I think we're ready to kind of get into what all this Unbound concept is. But to start, we need to dive into the warp.
The glorious ocean that is the warp. I think a famous podcaster once said, think of the warp like an ocean.
Ooh. Take a dip, baby.
Oh, yeah. Life rafts, we don't need that shit here. The warp, also known as the immaterium, is a parallel dimension of raw psychic energy that underpins all reality in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It is a realm of emotion, thought, and chaos, ever-shifting and hostile, yet essential to galactic civilization. The warp allows faster-than-light travel via warp drives, making interstellar empire building possible, and it is the source of all psychic and sorcerous power. However, it is also home to demons and the chaos gods, who are formed from the aggregated emotions and belief of sentient beings. The warp is alive, dangerous, and utterly unpredictable. Navigators must chart through it using psychic beacons like the Astronomicon, while psychers tap into it to wield terrifying powers. To use the warp is to court madness or damnation, yet to ignore it is to be left behind in a galaxy that runs on its currents. It is both lifeblood and death sentence, an ocean of infinite danger and limitless potential.
Yeah, like the warp is a crazy thing. It's not just the home to demons and godlike entities. It's how lots of races communicate. It's how lots of races do faster than light travel. Like I kind of said, some races even know how to harness it as an actual resource of energy, like the U-Voth. The warp has many, many uses, almost infinite. When you go to the warp, though, there are the demons, and typically those are what you follow. To the path of chaos, but there are many different paths of chaos. There are renegades, which are kind of like, they don't like the Imperium, but they're not chaos. They might be chaotic, but they're not like serving chaos, and we'll talk about them. There's Chaos Undivided, where, yeah, you're worshipping multiple gods, not just one god in the warp. There's Malal, and that's a different type of chaos entirely. That's chaos for chaos's sake. There's no gold, there's no rhyme, no reason for it. You just go hard. And then there's Chaos Unbound, like I said, that is, you're using it as a resource. And then we'll talk about the differences and stuff between them. So let's really focus on renegades, because I know in the Discord today, there's lots of people discussing, like, where does this chapter fall? Or where does this chapter fall? And a lot of you guys, I don't fully think get the different branches of how these are breaking down. So we'll try to make it super clear.
Cool. Well, I do want to just, before we get in this shout out, Black Phantom just jumped on the chat. This is their first time watching live. So welcome.
Yo, welcome.
Glad you're here.
Hello and welcome.
Rad. So let's get into the renegades, shall we? So renegades are those who once served the Imperium, but have turned away. Unlike Chaos Worshippers, not all renegades fall to corruption, at least not immediately. Many are disillusioned Imperial Guard commanders, Space Marine chapters, or planetary governors who reject the tyranny of the Imperium and seek to carve out their own realms. Some become pirate kings, others warlords with new ideals, and a few even attempt to forge alternative empires where humanity is freed from the yoke of the ecclesiarchy and high lords. While some eventually slip into chaos worship, many renegades remain staunchly opposed to both the Imperium and the Warp, believing themselves above both. I like this concept a lot, and I think the idea of just kind of saying, fuck both of you, take 2 of these and call me in the morning, I'm out. I like that. I think it adds really cool flavor, and I think, like I said, many are disillusioned. The idea that, like, no, I'm not part of the Imperium, and I'm not Chaos, and I'm just doing my own shit. And you know what? Like, fuck all of this. Eventually, something is gonna get at you, I think.
Yeah, this is always the first step of chaos, you know? It's the road of good intentions, or whatever that saying is. Like, even the Horus Heresy started this way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't want to just be soldiers anymore. When the war is over, we don't want to go away. You know, we deserve this. It wasn't that they were following chaos and went hard right off the bat. Some did, but that wasn't the selling feature.
No. I think it's rad storytelling. It's a great way to do narrative campaigns and narrative armies already there.
Yeah. So that's Renegades. It's you know, you're not tied to anything really. You're doing your own thing. Maybe it's your own mini empire that you have going, and just kind of doing your own thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad guy or doing bad things or chaos is involved being a renegade. It just means you're against the Imperium, essentially.
Yeah, but I like that it kind of gives this. It gives a sense of, like, it's the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. The Imperium is a shit place to live. So this gives you that avenue. Like, if you want to actually have a faction that's not just another horrible shithole like all the other factions.
Yeah. So now we will go into Chaos Undivided. Chaos Undivided refers to the veneration of chaos as a whole. Rather than pledging allegiance to a single god, its followers see the ruinous powers of Kor, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh not as rivals, but as facets of the same great force. Cults, warbands, and champions who serve Chaos Undivided often attempt to maintain a precarious balance between the gods' competing influences. They believe true power comes from embracing all aspects of chaos, war, change, pleasure, and decay, without falling entirely into one of the domains. The most infamous followers of Chaos Undivided include the Black Legion and War Master Abaddon, who use chaos as a unifying banner to conquer, not as a master to serve. Yeah, so Chaos Undivided, it's worshipping multiple of these gods, these entities. It might even just be worshipping like minor entities in the warp. It doesn't even have to necessarily be attached to the big 4 gods. It's that concept, though, of there are dark entities in the warp, and you're on their side.
I think it's a selfish thing too, in the chaotic way of, like, how best can they serve me? Like, I would imagine we've touched on this a little bit with Chaos Undivided, but like the idea of what can I get from these chaos gods? Like, how can I benefit from Tzeentch? How can I benefit from Nurgle? And it's like, sweet talk it, baby. What do you got? What do you got for me? Khorne, you're gonna give me some cool, like, rad axe. Nurgle, you're gonna, like, make me, like, die slower, like, infect me with some shit. Like, let's go. Let's talk. Sweet talk me.
Yeah. Lay out your guts on the table and let me peruse.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Yeah. And I know I brought this meme up before in a previous episode. I think we were also talking about chaos at that point too. But it's like that meme of, like, Abaddon, Typhus, Lucius, and Ahriman are, like, all in a room together. And then there's, like, that singular thought bubble, and they're all thinking the same thing. Man, look at these fools. They're just slaves to the chaos gods. I'm going to use my own means.
Oh man, that's classic. Because that's what it is, man. Like, as soon as you get tied in with the chaos gods, you might think that you're independent. You might think that you have them bent over a barrel and they're giving you all these gifts and all these blessings, but you're just a pawn in their great game. And even Abaddon the Despoiler is just a pawn.
Exactly. And I like that Hadi mentioned because we talked about this right before recording. He says, convinced the Iron Warriors and Alpha Legion are more renegade, Night Lords too. But then he retracts and says maybe Iron Warriors less so because Perturaba is a demon Primarch, but definitely Night Lords and Alpha Legion are more renegade. Because we had mentioned right before recording that like they don't really use the warp too much or chaos sorcery or anything like that. They're just quote unquote, they're just evil for the sake of fuck you, Imperium.
Yeah, for sure. Spot on.
So, but when you were talking about these other, Mark, when you were talking about these other warp entities, because I brought that up before, it's just like, would that be considered undivided or is that unbound, or what would you
so
think about these other deities that aren't chaos?
My line is anytime there's any entity in the warp that you're dealing with, now you're dealing with Chaos Undivided.
Okay.
Yeah, because like the concept of Unbound, which we'll get to soon, is energy, raw energy. So as soon as that energy has a form, a mass or soul or a shape or whatever, you're no longer dealing with Unbound.
Okay. All right. So I got another question for you. What is Malal? And that is our next topic. Segue. Good segue there. All right. Malal, also known as Malice, is a rare and renegade concept within the Chaos Pantheon. He embodies the self-destructive nature of chaos itself, the eternal war between the gods, the paranoia, the cannibalism. Oh my. The followers of Malal don't seek power through unity or domination. They revel in the sabotage and annihilation of all other chaos entities, including each other. Worshipping Malal is an act of nihilistic rebellion, embracing chaos not for conquest or survival, but for the sheer joy of tearing it all down.
Yeah. So with Malal, we often then get people saying, okay, so I'm Unbound and Malal. What's the difference between them? Like, I don't like the Chaos God, so therefore I'm Malal. The problem with Malal is as soon as you've had that thought, you're no longer Malal, because it's true chaos. Only madmen and the insane can actually worship that god. Because as soon as you have any type of thought, any type of, I'm going to do this to have this outcome, now you're no longer serving Malal. Because that's not what he's about. He's about the strictest sense of chaos.
It's like the classic like punk band thing. Like, well, what are you? We're a punk band. Well, why? Because we wanted to be a punk band. Well, that's not very punk, so you're not punk. Like, you wanted to be something that has form, and therefore it's not a punk band. So
that's perfect. So. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As soon as you put that title on it, you're no longer it.
Yeah, you put the leather jacket on with the studs and all that, which I had at one point, and it's like, yeah, this is cool. Why did you get that? Well, because I got it because I'm punk. I'll try and find it. I'll try and find some. But like, I got it because it's punk, and like that's a punk jacket. Then no, you've already lost the concept because you
bought that conformed. At Walmart.
You've conformed. So yeah.
Also think of the that line from The Dark Knight when he was talking about the Joker, and then Alfred just goes, "Some men don't want material goods. Some men just want to watch the world burn."
Yeah.
Yeah. So many times I've had the Joker come up in the past 10 minutes of us doing this, and I'm like, where is he in this? And where are certain villains? I'm kind of like, where is this? This one's tough to like. It's hard to put your finger on it, but I think you're right, Mark. Like, as soon as you've made the decision, or as soon as you've like dealt with something that has form and like you've decided, then you're not it.
Yeah.
Like, once you've kind of been like, okay, I have a mission and I'm going to do this, you've kind of already fucked it.
Yeah. And like, now maybe Malal still gets 5% of your chaotic energy. Maybe, maybe you're still feeding him a little bit, but it's not like what you think.
Malal's the guy that, like, you remember, like, every now and then you just have these thoughts, and maybe it's just me. I hope not. But you'll just be at the store or something, and you'll just be like, what if I huck this 2 liter of soda in the air and just run away? It's like, what happens?
Well, you're going to be TikTok famous.
You ever have those thoughts where you're just like, I know my boss is talking to me. What if I just spit on the ground and shoved his computer off the desk? Like, what would happen?
No rhyme or reason, just
like, I have no desire to do this whatsoever, like, at all. But it's just the social experimentation of it. Like, what if I just stand out in front of my neighbor's yard and hold my hands up in the air like this, just and see how long I can do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Chaos.
Malal, baby.
Malal. Yeah.
Someone's going to take a picture and then just Photoshop random protest signs all over it, and it'll say anything.
Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
I think those are the thoughts that Malal likes. Like, hey, what happens if you go just take a shit and then grab it and throw it at your friend?
What happens?
What happens? I don't know.
I want to know.
Yeah.
See, but then you're crossing the line of, I need to get back at this guy. Fuck that guy. I'm going to shit in my hand and then throw it at him. Then that's not Malal.
No, it's not revenge. It's just like you have no motivation whatsoever except just to see what happens.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, that's good clarification there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Joker has a lot of good lines that would just tie well into Malal, just like that watching the world burn quote, which Alfred said. He has another good one, Joker. I forget. It'll come back to me, but we can go on.
Yeah. I will say I don't think he's strictly that, because his disappointment when the plan doesn't go well is a little bit like, oh, so you really did want this to happen, versus like anything goes. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. But if we touch upon Chaos Unbound and kind of compare the two, we might be able to see a little bit more of a contrast in definition. So what is Chaos Unbound? Chaos Unbound is a philosophy and movement distinct from traditional chaos worship. It does not kneel to the gods nor seek the favor of their demons. Instead, it views the warp as a raw metaphysical resource, an ocean of psychic energy, not a pantheon. Followers of Chaos Unbound strive to dominate and shape the warp through will, intellect, and sorcery. They see themselves as masters of chaos rather than its servants, harvesting the power while scorning those who prostrate themselves before deities. To them, chaos is a forge, not a religion, a place to craft one's own ascension without compromise. They are proud, ruthless, and often highly dangerous psychers, warlocks, or techno-adepts who seek to transcend mortal limitations. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Pretty rad.
Yeah.
The last couple lines there were basically about psychers, warlock, techno-adepts, but this is like, you pretty much have to be a psyker in order to go down the path of Unbound, because in order to harness that energy, you have to be able to somehow connect to it. You actually have to be able to use it. So that means you're either a psyker or a warlock, or the other one is a techno-adept, because there's tons of different things we know that interact with the warp through technological means, like Blackstone fortresses, or like Necron have a bunch of cool tech, or just whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty rad. What's interesting too is the idea that like with Chaos Unbound, you better be pretty strong in the warp. Like you're going to get tested right off the bat, and it's a very selfish motive, and it's also going to be very discerning in the sense of like you either are going to succeed a little bit, or you're just going to not succeed at all. Like you're going to just get crushed, or you're going to do okay and maybe really well. I don't know, but
yeah, like
it's a deep end for sure.
If you were to line up all the legions, and all their followers, all the gods, and then you put the Unbound, there'd be so many chaos spawn there, so many more than all the other gods have. Because like you said, you right off the bat, you're going raw into the warp to try to harness these powers. Like they're gonna corrupt, they're gonna manipulate, they're gonna just turn you into that spawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got some differences now, some definitions. Now we'll go into the differences and crossovers between the four ideologies. While Chaos Undivided, Malal, and Chaos Unbound all engage with the warp, their relationship to it differ radically. Chaos Undivided is about devotion to all gods. Malal is a hate-filled parasite on the god's existence, and Chaos Unbound rejects worship entirely. Unbound may work alongside Undivided warbands, but only when the goals align, and will often break ties as the moment of these groups fall into fanaticism. Yeah, as soon as they start doing whatever their god-oriented activity is, the Unbound are like, yeah, we're not into this. Similarly, while Malal cults and Unbound warlocks both reject the pantheon, their motives are irreconcilable. One seeks destruction and other mastery. Renegades, meanwhile, may drift into any of these ideologies. Some might become unbound out of intellectual curiosity or lust for power. Ultimately, Chaos Unbound introduces a rare thread in 40k, a path that prizes control over servitude, knowledge over faith, and the will to bend the warp without bowing to it. Yeah, fuck yeah. I love that, man. Like, yeah, to follow this path, you have to have a strong will. You cannot be on social media and just be getting influenced by random bot farms. You know, you have to be solid. Otherwise, you get chaos spawned.
I would love to see that. I would love to see so many of these just like sponsor sucking influencers just get chaos spawned.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be the greatest thing. I would pay so much.
Oh boy.
The
But
one
I
line
dream.
in there that I liked too was renegades, meanwhile, may drift into any of these ideologies.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
typically when you go down the path of chaos, yeah, you do become a renegade by default. Like, you are now against the Imperium. So yeah, it can kind of slot into anything.
Mm-hmm.
So could you say though that all I'm just going to use the term subjects, like all chaos subjects in the sense of like people that kind of are associated with chaos are renegades, but not all renegades are chaos?
Yes, and maybe the only small, and this is like semantic argument out the wazoo, is yes, your statement's true, but then not everyone is a part of the Imperium and then betray the Imperium and then go to chaos. You know, most people, that is the path. They're part of the Imperium, but there are empires out there that are human and not Imperium aligned, and then they're on that renegade, and they never even were on that Imperial path, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I had a question I was going to ask, and then it just left me. Curse my blonde roots. Okay. But while we're on the subject of Chaos Unbound, let's delve a little bit more into that. So Chaos Unbound is a forbidden path that rejects the worship of gods in the favor of dominion over the warp itself. Where others bow to the whims of Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Slaanesh, the Unbound take the raw, untamed energies of chaos and bend them to their will. They are not heretics in service to a dark deity. They are sorcerers, warlords, and visionaries who seek to master the primordial realm beyond reality. The warp is not sacred to them. It is a resource, an ocean of infinite possibility, terror, and transformation. Their power manifests in alien forms, gargoyle-winged monstrosities, ever-shifting shadows, or endless echoes of self. The number 3.33, or the unknowable infinity, represent the multiplicity of their nature. While their black banners often bear the corrupted 8-pointed star, twisted to symbolize control rather than devotion, Unbound are marked by darkness, terror, and hunger, not for worship, but for total, self-made apotheosis. They use it as a resource, which is a quote from Bobby Jack, dug out of some of his endless, mindless ramblings.
Yeah, it took a while to find that little nugget of truth out of his mindless ramblings, but I really like that line. Like, he was talking about it, and it's like, yeah, they use it as a resource. That's what it is. It's their oil and gas. You know, they use it to power their ships and do things with it. They use it to make plastic, warp fueled plastic. You know, all these types of things.
Okay, now that train of thought that I lost to finally come back to station. It was this level of talking is making me think of the Arthur Clarke's 3 laws, specifically the third one, where it states, and I actually have it pulled up: any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Now, obviously, the warp is magic, but it is often treated as psychic energy, and librarians, psychers, the Magnus, the Thousand Suns before they fell to chaos, and Tzeentch specifically, treated it like another level of science that was just way above what most mortals would even think about.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
I do love that that quote. What was the other two laws, if you still have that pulled up?
I got it pulled up. The first law is when a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong.
Classic. I love that. Yeah, man.
And the second one is the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible.
So
Pretty good one.
So is this guy writing about Chaos Unbound then, or what's
Yeah.
the deal? Hey,
He could be. And then I was curious, like the psychers and the librarians, especially like if you're talking 30K area, would that not be unbound? Because you're trying to use the warp for the sake of the warp. And the Emperor was trying to preach the imperial
Ooh.
truth and not not say anything about the chaos gods.
Yeah, that is an interesting kind of hole you just poked in my whole episode there.
That just broke me.
Yeah. Yeah, so
now by 40K, you could probably hand wave it as this is devotion to the Emperor. And if we're of the mindset that the Emperor is like on track to become a chaos god, then yeah, that throws everything out. That throws everything out. But for 30K with the imperial truth.
Yeah, so then like the only way I can kind of rationalize this, because you're right, like every psyker essentially is harnessing raw energies of the warp. That's what they're doing when they're shooting out lightning bolts. You know, essentially, yes, you're 100% right. I don't know if I have a good counter or anything really to say how I. Maybe it has to do with motivation of why they're doing it is maybe the only thing I could think of. Like, so because Chaos Unbound, it as we've kind of come to learn, it's about that self-apotheosis. It's about making yourself the ultimate version, where other warp powers might not always be about that. It might be in service to people. But this is
who are
so
you serving?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty good. I think who are you serving in this? Like, is your intent for power, to control, and to ascend, like we talked about, like be the best you can be? But just like, are you trying to take all this for yourself, or is this like, no, I'm doing this in service of the greater thing that I am part of? A psyker is just a small piece of the Imperium that plays a pivotal role, but also is a tool. But when you are Chaos Unbound, I would bet you are not viewing yourself as a tool. You are viewing yourself as the master, and the other things like the warp are your tools.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the distinction. I don't know.
I kind of like that. It's that it's who are you serving? Because Unbound serves no one. And then maybe even you could add on who's protecting you. As in, like, when you're tapping into the warp, is there another entity that you're channeling through, protecting? Like, when you pray to the Emperor, he does protect you a little bit if you're a psyker. Where Unbound, you're doing all of it by yourself.
So if you're going by that logic, then 30K Magnus could not be, because he's being influenced by both Big E and Zinch, even if it's unknowingly.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. It's made up, so it's especially tricky when it's all fake and made up.
Well, just a bunch of fucking nerds here that don't know shit. So there we go. Yeah.
And yet we have the most intense arguments about this stuff. It's great.
Alpha Primaris and Grimaldus are chatting about rune priests or wolf priests in Space Wolves, and talking about the runic powers. I'm like, I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to touch that, because there's so many arguments to be made, as much as I love it. So
we talked about Space Wolves. They're done. It's over with. We got Blood Angels coming up at some point. So
I love them. They're amazing. Mark hates them. We make fun of it. It's still good. All right. Let's get into some stuff about the raw energies then. So before the realm of Chaos Unbound ever takes form, there are the raw energies of the warp, primordial, fragmented, and formless. These scraps drift through the immaterium like embers from a dead star, too scattered to coalesce into demons or domains, yet potent enough in their own right. Tapping into these energies is an act of sheer will and danger. They offer no guidance, no pact, only raw potential. To the unbound, these shards are sacred not because of what they are, but because of what they aren't. They are not yet claimed by gods, not yet shaped by belief or emotion. They are unspoken syllables of a dark language waiting to be spoken. Sorcerers, rogue psychers, and warp sensitives who dare to grasp these fragments find themselves awash in unpredictable power. Flickers of transmutation, surges of void light, echoes of other timelines. It is like grasping smoke that burns, and with enough mastery, forging it into fire. It's rad. Very cool.
Cool. I love the way that's described, just like these scraps of warp energy that don't have form. They're not claimed yet. Yeah.
It's pure. It's raw and it's pure. Yeah.
Yeah. Alpha Primus, I think this is the way we can kind of really answer that question Gerald had. I think the key point, one must be serving themselves, and then in brackets, the ego. And that's key to be unbound. Yeah, I think you have to serve your ego in order to be unbound. That is one of the keys for sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I am curious what you guys think about this part. I wasn't sure. We're going to talk about the realm next. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to include one, but we'll read and see what you guys think. So the realm I came up with is the realm of the Black Mirror Sea. Chaos Unbound domain is a vast, ink-dark sea stretching into infinity, its surface like liquid glass reflecting not the stars, but the minds of those who enter. Waves crash with silent screams, and islands drift in and out of existence, each one a shattered psyche made manifest. The waters teem with formless horrors and fragmented selves, remnants of those who tried to be the masters of the warp and failed. Above hangs a sky without constellations where winged shadows circle endlessly, waiting to descend upon the uncertain. There is no divine order here, only potential, chaotic, boundless, and deadly. To stand in this realm is to face oneself in infinite forms, and either emerge forged or fall into dissolution. It is not a place of worship, it is the crucible for power. The Black Mirror Sea. What do you guys think? I tried to keep it as like vague and kind of shapeless as possible, but still giving it something.
It should be shapeless, like you said, but kind of like we said previously, like smoke in your hands, but not quite fire. Just like the hints of it, little bits, but shouldn't be finite.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's cool.
Yep. I was getting this image of like of that one scene from I think Pirates of the Caribbean 3, where they're essentially in the afterlife, Davy Jones' locker, so to speak, and they're floating on like completely still black water, and it's just like stars and constellations, and it's just reflected in the water, so it just looks like it's just floating in the middle of nothing. Yeah, and then of course, like if you actually look into the water, you see the shades of like all the people that died at sea. So that was the image I was thinking of.
That's a good image, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's a court certified double nerding, as we
I like it. Very good. Stamped of approval. Boom. Nice, Gerald. It makes me think a little bit of like the what do you call them? The try-on rooms in Target.
The try-on room.
Where you go to try on clothes.
Oh, okay.
What do you call it?
Yeah, sure. Change room. Sure. Try on.
Changing room.
Sure.
Look, I'm looking at the reflection of my infinite self and wondering, will these pants fit?
Yes.
Will I ascend and emerge better than before with new pants? With these formless voids that I have brought, and I see the faceless horrors. I turn and look and go, damn, I don't look as good as I thought.
No.
And I've seen reflections of those who have entered before and other pants that they have not put away that did not fit them.
No.
I can hear the silent screams of parents trying to get their kids to behave. Will I emerge or fall in dissolution?
Oh,
The changing
what a
rooms of
picture
Target.
you paint here.
You tried
Yikes.
to ascend in the changing rooms of Target, and you failed.
Yes. There it is. That's all I got. Because you've got like 3 different mirrors or something, and you're just like, oh, here we go. I don't know.
Oh man. So, but from this, how do these unbound legions manifest? Surely there might be some demons that do represent the unbound. In the Black Mirror Sea, the realm of Chaos Unbound, demons are not born of worship or devotion, but from the concentrated force of fear. Here, fear is not weakness; it is the fundamental shaping tool, the chisel that carves being form, that carves. Hold on. Tongue twister. The chisel that carves being from formless potential. When a mortal mind touches the sea with uncertainty, dread, or the terror of the unknown, that psychic resonance lingers like blood in the water. Enough of it, layered with intent or repetition, causes the warp's unstable mass to condense, not into God's servants, but into self-formed reflections of terror. These unbound demons are shards of pure fear given shape, silent winged predators, shadow-limbed horrors, or ever-smiling faces that wear the skin of those their creators feared most. Unlike traditional demons, they are not bound to any higher power. They exist to hunt, haunt, and survive, embodying fear's power as the true architect of becoming in the unbound domain.
All right. So now lots of people might be like, well, Mark, I thought you said as soon as the warp takes shape, it's no longer unbound. And this is when I would say, I suppose, yeah, for sure. I think the big thing we got to go with is like, yeah, you're not worshiping these demons in the warp that have made. No God is making these demons. These demons also don't help you. They're not bound to you. Who knows if you even can bind them to you. I'm sure you could if you're powerful enough, but like they are more like they're a shark in the ocean of the warp. They just kind of go and they feed, and like they're ultimate predators. They don't really have goals beyond hunting and feeding. They don't have they have no inkling to help you do anything. That's not their purpose. That's not who they are or what they're about. They got their own. Completely independent, exactly. Just like you are, they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you could run, you might be fast food.
Yeah.
Let's get into some worship here. So, more on the worship of Chaos Unbound. So, followers of Chaos Unbound do not worship in the traditional sense. They offer no prayers, build no temples, and swear no oaths to deities. Instead, their devotion lies in the pursuit of personal ascension. I'm going to repeat that. Personal ascension through the mastery of the warp's raw, godless energy. They meditate not on dogma, but on dominance, training their minds to shape the warp, not to be shaped by it. Rituals, when performed, are acts of precision and control, not praise. Binding sigils carved with mathematical perfection, incantations recited like equations, and pacts forged only with the self. The highest ideal of the Unbound is the sovereign will, the strength to bend the warp to one's purpose without surrendering to the corrupting allure of emotion or divine interference. Among them, fear is a respected currency, not to be rejected, but refined, for it is the emotion that grants the greatest leverage in the sea. I like that a lot. I like it. It paints a very different picture than the I'll do anything, just give me your gifts. Oh, yes, praise Father Nurgle. Oh, God, yes, all this. it is selfish as shit,
Yeah.
and it is precision. It's just I like that it is pulled from emotions, and it's just calculating. It's very calculating.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I think this blows like that whole 30K psyker question now like out, because this establishes like you're doing this for yourself. So for all the 30K psychers, even though yes it was state enforced atheism, you're still serving the emperor. You're doing this for the emperor. Magnus and the Thousand Sons and Prospero, we're doing this either for under the guidance of the emperor or Zinch. So again, that blows that out of the water now.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we have an answer for it.
Cool.
So if you're a follower, what kind of gifts can you expect? The warp does not remain passive under prolonged control. As Unbound adepts grow in power and focus, the sea may respond, manifesting strange gifts, not as blessings from a god, but as echoes of a practitioner's wills, obsessions, and fears. Wings may unfurl from the back of one who dreams of dominance from above. Eyes may multiply for those who seek all knowledge, and their flesh may shift to reflect the shadowy essence they command. In rare cases, a follower of the Unbound may undergo a form of apotheosis, ascending into demonhood, not as a servant, but as a self-fashioned entity of fear and force. These Unbound demons are aberrant in the warp, claimed by any god, often hated by them, yet immensely powerful. They are walking paradoxes, entities of chaos who serve only themselves, spreading terror and influence, not in the name of God, but in the image of their own perfected fear. Yeah, so if this is kind of the interesting one, like how these gifts happen. It almost seems random, but also at the same time, like not fully. Like it bleeds into whatever you're thinking about. Like we kind of said, if you wish to see more knowledge, you might get multiple eyes as a weird manifestation of that, where it's like, okay, now one of these eyes can actually see truth, whatever the fuck that means, Yeah.
It's like and I don't want to like shit on anybody's like beliefs or whatever. It's like that manifesting thing. Like if you have the board, you make your little board like, I want a car and I want the new house and I want this and I want this job and all that. And if I look at this poster board every day, it's going to manifest something. I have it.
Yeah.
I had a buddy that did that. I was like, I'm sorry, that's just stupid. But the idea really and he had like a Lamborghini on there and like pictures of cash and stuff. And it's like, okay, here's the idea. These are not gifts from the warp that are just given to you. You're making this happen because you're focused on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want that Lamborghini, you're manifesting it by saving money, by working hard. You're doing all the fucking things that are going to check that box for you to get it. But then it just happens at the end. You're like, well, it's because I cut that thing out of a magazine, put it on a poster board and stared at it for 2 hours every day. No, it's because it was on the forefront of your mind and you made decisions that affected the change that was going to get you that thing at the end. Yeah. Like you made it happen. So to even call them gifts is weird. I feel like it's like they're earned boons because you've shaped the warp to your will, and it's like no gods have given you these things. The gods fucking hate you because you're bending the warp to your will. So you're making this happen. So it's like warp boons almost.
Yeah. I Googled boon. Like I've used that word a bunch, but benefit, favor, especially one that is given in answer to a request. You can request things of the warp. So, last little bit, it still works. I think a boon is a better option than a gift. Like you said, I like it.
Yeah. I do like that they're hated though. Like these guys do, these folks do become powerful entities. They can, it is possible. Yeah. And that the chaos gods just like hate them.
Yeah. That's
cool. Mm-hmm.
More often than not though, these boons are probably more monkey paw type things. Like you might get what you want, but you're gonna get some other things too mixed in there. So with the warp, it's not always perfect.
Yeah.
very true. And I mean, which is very on brand, because what about the corruption that comes with that monkey paw gift? So the path of the Unbound is razor thin, and the warp is patient. Those who falter, who lose clarity, who let their emotions override their will, are swiftly unmade. Without a god's protection, there is no structure to catch a failing mind. The same raw energies that offer strength will devour the undisciplined, unraveling their essence into warped, writhing masses of instinct and mutation. These broken remnants become chaos spawn, souls who reach too far into the sea without the will to shape it. Their forms twist endlessly, mouths growing where there were none, wings sprouting and collapsing, endlessly reconfiguring as the warp expresses their shattered fear with no conscious guidance. Other Unbound view these abominations as solemn warnings, not punishment, but the natural consequences. In the Black Mirror Sea, strength of will is everything. Without it, one ceases to be a master and becomes just another echo, howling through the dark.
I like this this Black Mirror Sea, that when you kind of fall, yeah, you might turn into a spawn, or you might kind of just get sucked into this and become one of these like twinkles in the sea, you know, that kind of fades out and gone. Yeah. Hottie says, aren't you one failure away from spawn? I read years ago that if you want to become a demon prince, there are always two roads, the one that leads to ascension and the other one that leads to spawndom. So yeah, pretty well. You know, and I guess in all of life, you can either pass or fail technically on everything. Sure.
I think that shows the severity of the mastering it would take, and the discipline it would take to be, you know, to ascend within Chaos Unbound.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we don't see it as often. And I think that's, you know, like the description we read earlier about these beings being very powerful and hated by the gods, which means they're even recognized by the gods. Like they're recognized in the sense that like they're the antithesis of them. They're enemies at this point. So no one, not just anyone's going to do this, you know. And I think that makes it even cooler.
Sure.
Yep. And it kind of makes me think too of like, there's a comic book about Lucifer himself. So for all you Christians out there, this is written by Neil Gaiman, and the way he describes it, and there's a Netflix show on it too, which is pretty cool. But the way he describes God's angels is like they have this ability to basically self-actualize. So anything that they perceive of themselves like manifests as it is. So like one angel, like, you know, he's like one of God's greatest angels. He has these great glorious wings, but then like he failed a mission or something, and then so he feels like he is personally fallen. Well, that self-actualization actually comes back, and then like his wings are molting and rotten, and then he doesn't have like the angelic strength anymore. So this makes it so like this serving of self for Unbound kind of makes me think of like you're on that road to self-actualization, and then if you fuck up and fail, then that will self-actualize into you becoming just a writhing mess of a chaos spawn.
Yeah,
that's life too. And Gerald, I think listeners need to listen to you say that again. Like if you guys are on this not live and listening to it again, hit that 30 seconds back a couple times and listen to what he just said, because that's life, man. Like self-actualizing, knowing yourself, confidence, all that shit. Yeah,
so
you want to be a chaos spawn.
So it goes back to that manifesting board that your friend did. Is just like, yeah, you're manifesting it, but you're the one that's self-actualizing by doing the work and getting those things, just like you said. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. So are we getting into some Unbound qualities here?
Yeah.
All right. So the aesthetic of Chaos Unbound is rooted in terror and transformation. Gee, I never would have thought that. Thought it would have been sunshines and rainbows, man.
Darn it.
Yeah, damn it. Terror and transformation, drawing upon imagery that evokes primordial dread, shadows that move without light, gargoyle-like figures hunched and winged, and the crushing presence of unseen power. Wings are a common manifestation, not symbols of freedom, but of dominance, allowing the unbound to rise above others physically and metaphysically. Their power is not bright or glorious. It is silent, patient, and cold, like something watching from above a cathedral's heights. That is gothic and rad, and I'm eating it up. I love it. But I think that also just kind of mirrors what all of us were saying before, is that it's very calculating, it's very mathematical, it's very precise, and it's emotionless.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Their forms blend into darkness, becoming mythical beasts and spectral nightmares rather than flamboyant champions. This power is not meant to inspire awe, but submission. The unbound do not dazzle, they loom. Their presence is a weight upon the world, a creeping pressure in the soul. Where they walk, others whisper. I get the idea that these guys don't really like Emperor's Children. Like, they just see them and they're just like,
as they shouldn't.
Stop dazzling and just loom for once.
Goddamn, just loom.
Fucking dazzlers, loom.
When thinking about Unbound, I kind of thought of 4 qualities or themes that kind of always I was kind of going back to. The main one was terror and fear. That's like what this all kind of feeds off of. Why do you want more power? Well, you're afraid of being powerless. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Why do you want more power? So you can do something better, you know? You're afraid of not being good enough, essentially. I also thought of shadows and darkness, obviously. And then the other kind of big one was gargoyles. And it has to do with like that watching, that like almost demonic look, that looming. Yeah, that like they just kind of went with it. And the other big reason why I went with gargoyles was Furies, the demon of undivided, unbound demons, which actually exist. Like Furies are a real demon. They're gargoyle based. So I kind of took them, put them in there, and just kind of really drove that through. Toss on wings, toss on fanged, snarled faces, and you can kind of really get this going.
I would take it one step further and include like shadow people or sleep paralysis demons, because they're just like those shapes that are just hanging in the corner of a dark room. Hold on. Okay. They're just hanging in the corner of a dark room. And what was that meme one with the Benadryl? Oh, the Hat Man.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. Sure. I'm sold on the aesthetic. I think it's rad. I think it's way cool, and I want to see it on the table.
I have minis coming here. You know,
you can see it on the table. It is called Bellacore, actually. But if you're talking about the shadows and the gargoyle,
that's like, true. Look, you're absolutely, man. Yeah,
but
it is.
He is undivided. Last I checked. So
yeah. So what emotions feed into Unbound? I got some quotes here. I got a Star Wars quote, actually. This was perfect, man. Yes. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And that's pretty much, this. Mm-hmm. Now to 40k it up a bit. I'll 40k it up. This is from a random inquisitor that fell to chaos. Fear is the first fracture in the soul. Fear breeds rage. Rage festers into hatred, and hatred, unchecked, opens the way to damnation. The power of Unbound is nourished by deep, lingering emotions, those that hollow the soul rather than inflame it. Fear is the foundation, not as panic, but as the slow, choking dread of the unknown. Despair follows a numbing emptiness that breaks down resistance and invites the Unbound to shape what remains. Grief opens the mind to transformation, forcing one to shed attachments and identity, making space for something darker to grow. Hatred, refined and repurposed, becomes an engine of domination, cold, focused, and unrelenting. But other emotions feed the Unbound as well. Shame, which twists inward and festers. Paranoia, which sharpens awareness and drives the desire for control. And obsession, that singular, consuming focus that bends all things towards a goal. These emotions do not explode, they erode, gradually making the psyche malleable, fertile ground for the Black Mirror Sea to answer. In their quiet rot, the Unbound find power by untouched gods. The Unbound find power untouched by gods. It's a better way to read it. Yeah,
I think it's important to note that all of these emotions are, they're driving, like they're motivators, but you cannot succumb to any of them. Like, because then you are the tool. Because then the warp takes you in that sense. So like, while the Unbound is very disciplined. It's very disciplined. So to have these motivating emotions, that is fine. But to give into them completely, I think, is where that then becomes like possibility of chaos spawn. Is like that slip, kind of like we were talking about earlier. It's like, it's one thing to have paranoia and one thing to have an obsession ish, but one thing to have like shame and fear and hatred and all that. Yes, those can fuel you in your motivation to become, ascended. You cannot give in to any of those, I think, because as soon as you do, that emotion takes you over, and now you are the tool of the warp. I think that's just my take.
I agree. Like, Unbound is all about control, and as soon as like I've been mad and lost control, as soon as that happens, no longer Unbound. Now you're ripe for another soul to come eat you or take you or get sucked or whatever. Yeah.
Get sucked.
Get sucked, son.
Oh man. Calm down or you're gonna get sucked. Oh, man.
Don't want that.
Oh man. I'll think of it too, like Corn, Nurgle, Zinch, they have like their primary emotion that they feed off of. Unbound is kind of, and then like Undivided is like you kind of feed off of all of them. But this kind of makes it seem like it feeds off of like those emotions little bits at a time, kind of like a mini buffet or a snack bar, not like one giant 3-course meal like that the other Chaos gods would get. But then if you give into that motion, like you're just one step away from being screwed up or fall into one of the Chaos gods who does have that primary, very strong driving emotion that's linked to them.
Yeah,
but
good call.
Yep, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Take that for what it's worth. Speaking of 2 cents, what is 2 cents? It is 2 pennies, which is a number. Numbers.
Lovely segue there. Great.
Nailed it. Oh, still playing the bad segue game here. Yeah. But in numerology of Chaos Unbound, the number 3.33 represents unstable perfection. Something just beyond completion, never fully whole. It is a mockery of sacred trinities and logical closure, a symbol of endless iteration and unfinished ascension. It recurs in rituals, incantations, and the fractal geometries scrawled across Unbound sorceress diagrams. Meanwhile, the symbol X is invoked as the placeholder for the unknown, an intentional void in logic, a refusal to be defined. To the Unbound, numbers are not the truths, but tools. They are meant to bend and break under will, not be revered. Where other cults chant sacred numbers tied to their patrons, the Unbound scrawl equations that defy consistency and summon meaningless repetition, fracturing cause from effect. Their mathematics are not for understanding, they are for control. Into that, I would say, why not just use pi? Because that is an infinite number with complete random chaotic sequencing, but I get the 3.33. That's a cute reference. Yeah. So because it goes on forever.
Yeah, cute for sure. After 35 years, something happened. I used algebra for the first time, not in high school. I know. It's fucking crazy. And all I used it for was to just put an X down for the symbol of a placeholder for a number of unknown.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Man.
Meanwhile, a symbol X is invoked as a placeholder. Just a little algebra for you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's the most I can muster.
I just get images of like a bunch of math nerds like in the Unbound vibe. Like, I don't know. I just want to see like a mini on the table that's just a typical nerd, but he has like a flesh banner, and like inscribed in it is the pi symbol, like you were saying, Gerald, just like the pi.
Or it's like that gif of like the woman that's confused, but then it's like all these math equations that just like
Yes.
pop in and out of existence.
Yes.
Unbound.
Yeah, perfect.
And now I'm thinking of Goodwill Hunting, double, triple nerd in here going on.
Ooh.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Exactly. Son of a bitch stole my line. I love that. That's great. Yeah, well, speaking of symbols, let's get into the iconography here. So the iconography of Chaos Unbound rejects fixed interpretations. The infinity symbol, as it is, common among their ranks, signifies endless potential without allegiance, unending will rather than eternal servitude. It appears on armor, etched into flesh, or hovering midair in rituals as a pulsating distortion of reality. When the Unbound do use the 8-pointed star of chaos, it is often inverted, corrupted, or partially erased. Its edges shattered, spirals broken, or its center replaced with a hollow void. This reflects their fundamental belief that chaos is not to be served, but shaped. Their symbols are not crests, they are weapons, living glyphs of contradiction. They are designed to erode understanding and replace it with terror and uncertainty. To glimpse an Unbound sigil is to feel something ancient and wrong, brushing against the edges of your sanity. Yeah, Dunder Mifflin Infinity, just Chaos Unbound all over, baby.
All over. Yep.
That's right.
Grim asks, when does trigonometry come into play with the Unbound? We also got Haughty giving us some algebra formulas here. 10x equals y, when x is the minis you have to build and y is the amount of time you have total. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Up next, we got the colors, though. The Unbound are cloaked in black, not merely as a pigment. It is the black as a principle. In their darkness is the void between stars, the blank space where meaning dissolves. Some wear robes that shimmer like oils. Others are wrapped in armor that reflects no light at all, appearing more as silhouettes burned into reality. This black is symbolic of rejection, the refusal to bear the garnished hues of the gods, the denial of all the banners, but one's own will. To see Unbound's constructs or war forms is to witness the absence of presence, like staring into the hole in a world. To the followers of the Unbound, color is indulgence, distraction. Black is not emptiness. It is potentially unclaimed, or it is potential unclaimed, chaos waiting to be mastered. Their true form is a hidden in shadow, because what is unseen cannot be controlled by any gods but themselves.
That's exactly what I used to tell my mom's friends when they asked why I wear too much black at church. That's all that is actually exactly
you're
what
just
I
like, I cloak myself in black, not merely as a pigment, but it is a principle, Mom.
This is a symbol of rejection. Refusal to bear the garish ruse of the gods.
I think I really would have liked Young Court. Like, you would have just been so out there and like.
The irony is like the irony is like, yes, I'm wearing all this shit and like skulls on my shirt and all that, but I'm still like playing guitar in church band, loving it, doing the things, but just like, yep, got a tattoo at 17, got grounded for 6 months, wear all black, love life.
Oh my god. Every time I learn something new about you, Court.
Yeah, I got grounded for 6 months for getting my first tattoo.
What was your first
underage. Ironically, it's like a Jesus tattoo. It's hard to see, but it's a cross that goes into a guitar.
Okay.
On my forearm.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it says "Play to the Lord." But yeah, wearing a lot of black as a youngster, and it was just it was
Black
just like
getting
staring
laid,
at a
I
hole
think.
in the void. That's it. Yeah,
That was what it was
So.
for me, at least. You know, me
What did you
growing
say?
up as a lack of getting laid. Yeah, so angry, so black.
No, see, I was the one that was too scared to hold a girl's hand. Like I was just, and my buddies were just making fun of me the whole time. And I'm like, fine, then I'll just listen to Bauhaus and wear black.
Oh man.
Oh boy. So what did these legions look like? I wonder if they all wear black too, just like young Court. The legions of Chaos Unbound are unlike those of the god-aligned pantheons. They are not unified by creed or command, but by convergence of fear, ambition, and will. These legions are shifting assemblages of demons, war beasts, and warp-forged constructs drawn together by psychic resonance rather than loyalty. Each legion forms around a central force, a demon prince, dread wraith, or warp-saturated battlefield, where the ambient dread and dominant will shape a temporary hierarchy. Ranks are fluid, formations are chaotic, and leadership is always earned through dominance, never granted by title. When they march, it is not with fanfare or chant, but in eerie silence, their presence alone suffocating morale and unraveling minds. Legion banners are symbols of paradox, fractured infinities, broken stars, or ever-changing glyphs, each one representing the triumph of individual mastery over the warp. To face a legion of the Unbound is to stand before an army where every entity was forged, not born, in fear, and where every shadow might rise to kill.
Yeah. So now we're gonna get into the different types of demons, from demon princes to lesser demons. I did come up with them. If you're watching, or listening, I suggest you move on over to the Patreon and watch the video, because I'm going to be pulling up minis and stuff as we go through the breakdown of these different demons and stuff, and how I would build them anyways. Let's start with the demon prince, though.
Yeah. I may have questions at the end of this, just because the legions seem to confuse me as far as like power dynamics and stuff, but we'll see. So we'll start with demon princes. Okay, so unbound demon princes, as we all know and love, are mortals who have seized power through sheer will, not divine favor. They reshape their bodies and souls into avatars of terror, commanding the warp as a force to be used, not worshipped. These beings stand alone, unchained, sovereign, and feared by gods and mortals alike.
And then
This
this
looks
is a
rad.
custom named hero that I would have come up with. So his name is Varkrath, the Herald of the Abyss. And once again, go check out the Patreon to look at pictures.
This looks sick. Okay, so Varkarth, Herald of the Abyss. Among the unbound demon princes, none are more feared than Varkarth, Herald of the Abyss. Once a mortal psyker who conquered his fears by becoming them, Varkarth now drifts across the void on wings of shadow and talons made from frozen dead. His voice is never raised, but always heard, carried in the silence before death, whispered in the stillness between heartbeats. Entire cults fall into madness merely by trying to interpret his presence. Where he treads, stars dim, minds unravel, and hope withers into dust. He is not a servant of the warp. He is its echo, speaking back to the living. To the unbound, Varkarth is both paragon and warning, the perfect predator of the sea, and proof that even the deepest abyss can grow teeth and wings. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. So for this model, I would use the Dark Oath Wilder Fiend from AOS. And then the key thing that you got to do is you got to slap on some Demon Prince wings from the Demon Prince box. I just pulled up the Demon Prince. And yeah, you give them the axe or the sword, maybe you slap on some armor plates to kind of really convert that Dark Oath wielder fiend. That would be the difference for sure.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Would you put maybe like on his kind of loincloth thingy, like the infinity symbol or something like that? Would you give any sort of like mathematical runes on the base maybe or something?
Man, like if I was to actually do this, I would paint all the demons Vanta black, or as close to it as possible. Maybe I don't actually go buy it, but like I would want to make them look like they're that silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the worst paint job ever. People are gonna say, so you primed
it's
your minis?
terrible.
And I'll be like, no, I primed and painted their eyes red. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
You got to take it one step further, though. You can't just prime it because then like the light will shine off of the primer. You got to give it like that matte varnish so that way it doesn't bounce the light off as much. So that way you get that Vanta Black experience.
There it is.
That experience of it.
It just looks like when you're holding it up, it looks like somebody cut out reality around that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it. And then we will jump to greater demons. Unbound greater demons, like the Dread Wraith, are vast manifestations of collective fear given monstrous form. They do not serve, they arrive, drawn to places saturated in despair and uncertainty. Their presence bends reality, silences thought, and announces that hope has already lost. So the named kind of greater demon that I came up with was the Dread Wraith. And Dread Wraiths are towering nightmares of Unbound. A greater demon class born not of devotion, but of collective, formless fear. They appear as vast skeleton horrors draped in cloaks of living shadow, their wings unfurled like curtains across the void. Their faces are always hidden, and their forms shift when observed. Dread Wraiths manifest when fear saturates a battlefield or a population, when the terror of the unknown reaches such a critical mass that the Black Mirror Sea can no longer contain it. They do not speak, nor do they negotiate. Their presence alone is an act of psychological assault. Entire cities have fallen simply from the dread of their approach. They are not avatars of vengeance or death. They are the anticipation of both, the moment of stillness before the world collapses. And for a model for this cool fucking guy is, boom, Be'lakor. We take the Be'lakor model and we convert it. And we bought that Demon Prince model to convert with the Dark Oath guy. You can take some more of that same kit and slap it on this guy. Like, take this sword, put it on your Demon Prince, put the axe on this guy. You can do a couple small tweaks just to make him so he's no longer Be'lakor.
And Mark, I just DM'd you a picture of a Dark Souls boss. Anyone who's played Dark Souls will know what I'm about to talk about. Gravelord Nito.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty wild.
And if you can pull that picture up, Mark, so that the watchers can see it too.
Great.
So for those who have never played Dark Souls, he is a boss that is essentially a giant skeleton with a cloak of other skeletons and then living shadow.
Yeah, you sold me. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying and cool and all types of things.
That's sick.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Up next, we got Lesser Demons.
So Lesser Demons. Sorry, I was enamored by the chat. Lesser Demons of the Unbound, often Furies or Shadow Things, form from the ambient psychic terror and intrusive dread. They are quick, cruel, and merciless, unthinking tools of fear given wings and teeth. Their arrival marks the beginning of a greater unraveling. And so for this, we have Furies, which actually are a thing. Furies are the smallest but most numerous manifestations of the Unbound, flitting creatures born from passing thoughts of fear and intrusive dread. They take on bat-like forms with twisted gargoyle faces and too many wings. Their screeches. I want to say that again. Too many wings. I love that this is in the notes right now. Their screeches silent to the ear, but deafening to the soul. Unlike the Furies of the Pantheon, Unbound Furies are not cast-offs or scavengers, they are precursors. When they gather, it signals a rising tide of dread, a whisper that something larger is watching. They swarm battlefields, shadowing psychers and weak-willed mortals, driving them to madness before any blade is drawn. These creatures can pass through walls and minds alike, flickering between reality and warp with each beat of their wings. Their purpose is not to destroy, but to prepare, softening reality for something far worse to come. And for the model, we have gargoyles. So just simple gargoyles.
Simple
When the
gargoyles.
fuck did those come out?
I think they're for AOS technically, these guys.
I mean, I know I haven't played 4.0 AOS, and I do love AOS, but like, I haven't played the new version. I have not seen. Oh, it's Slaves to Darkness. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if these were more so for Warcry.
I think they were. I
Okay.
think so. Yeah, like they were like a weird special kit.
Yeah, what a weird mini, like bearded little gargoyle boys, like just
Yeah.
weird.
They
It's kinda
fit
cool.
Bellicor perfectly though. Like
Oh,
just
for
imagine
sure.
these guys around a converted
Mhm.
Bellicor. Oh yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're like
Um,
little nurglings for Bellicor.
Yeah. I know you didn't ask your one question there, Court, about the demons and stuff, but maybe just keep this
Mhm.
in the back of your mind because it's come up a couple times about how these guys manifest, and it's when fear reaches that critical mass, they kind of just appear.
Mm.
So keep that. That might not fully answer your question, but it might be a little puzzle. So
Okay. Okay,
Peace.
cool. Well, let's get into some beasts here. So, unbound beasts are raw warp predators, mindless manifestations of instinct shaped by ancient primal terrors. They roam the black mirror sea until drawn by strong emotion, especially fear and pain. These creatures hunt anything that hesitates. The Raptorix. Among the warped bestiary of the Unbound, Raptorix are terror incarnate. this fucking model is making me laugh so much. This fucking thing. I'm gonna get through it and then we're gonna talk about it because it's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. They are terror
Look at the chicken wings on him.
They are terror incarnate. I'm gonna say to some. Oh,
Court
my
laughs
That,
at
sir-
your Raptor-X.
these are
That, sir,
fucking
is a
hilarious.
cracked out velociraptor.
It is very much so, with nipple piercings, by the way.
I didn't even see.
Yeah, you can hang towels on those things, man. This is the most fucked up poultry I've ever seen.
God.
Okay, all right, here we go. Okay. Avian nightmares with hooked talons, hollowed faces, and wings stitched from the skin of forgotten dreams. They descend in hunting packs from high altitudes, too fast to be seen, too quiet to be heard. Their screech is psychic, bypassing ears to claw directly at the mind. Unlike the more corporeal cousins of the mortal realms, this fucking picture. These warp-born variants are intangible until the moment of impact, becoming real only to kill. So they manifest right at the moment of killing. They are often loosed ahead of major unbound incursions, sowing confusion and panic. Yeah, fucking confusion's right. Jeez. In the Black Mirror Sea, they flock in storm-sized swarms, forever circling dying thoughts. And the model that was chosen here would be the bird hounds. I've never seen this. This is the most fucked up velociraptor chicken Dilophosaurus that's into weird kinky shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. A bird with a tongue. Do most birds have tongues? I guess they do.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess parrots have tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking weird looking for sure. I like it.
It's cool. I just think it is hilarious.
We have velociraptors at home.
Yeah, I want to convert one of these things into a weird Kroot creature because it has all those quills and
Yes. Yep.
That would be cool.
I love the paint scheme on these though. They look really cool as far as the paint job goes. Like I really dig that paint scheme.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know them, you love them. Chaos Spawn. So we're gonna get into some Chaos Spawns now. For the Unbound, there is no punishment worse than failure of the will. So I'm going to say that again because I really think that drives home a lot of what we've been saying previous. So for the Unbound, there is no punishment worse than failure of the will. When discipline breaks, when fear overwhelms purpose, like we've said before, a follower of the Unbound does not die, they unravel. Chaos Spawn birthed from the Unbound are not random abominations, but distorted mirrors of who they once were. Their forms constantly shift, unable to hold coherence, half shadow, half meat. Their mouths loop endlessly in silent screams. Each mutation represents a piece of their broken psyche, a wing that no longer flies, eyes that see nothing but regret, limbs that twitch phantom memory. These spawns are locked in perpetual metamorphosis, and to witness one is to see what becomes of ambition unanchored. To the Unbound, they are walking warnings, sacred in their horror. Gives me a very, if you any of you guys read H.P. Lovecraft, very Shoggoth vibe. We're just constantly changing and morphing, and where there was a face, there's now a weird sphincter, you know. Or a few.
What do we think about this Chaos Unbound or this Spawn's pubic hair? And his pubic region?
Just covering. Yeah. It's like a little crotch goatee. Yeah. I love those models though. They're fun. They're just so cool.
They are fun. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many bits in that kit, and you could just put them any way you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. That's the Chaos Spawn.
Yeah. We'll move towards the steeds now. Steeds of the Unbound, such as parasitic wings, are not mounts. They are living weapons that bond to flesh. They grant terrifying mobility and constantly test their host's strength of will. If the rider falters, the steed takes control, or worse, takes flight alone. That's a fun thought. The wings just drop you and let you fall. See ya. Bye, bitch. So parasitic wings. The Unbound do not ride beasts of burden, they wear them. Known as parasitic wings, these creatures are semi-sentient warp organisms that bond to the spine of the sorcerer or demon. Once fused, they twist open into a vast bat-like wings that pulse with independent hunger. They feed on emotion, especially fear emitted by enemies, and occasionally from the riders themselves. Steeds of this kind are symbolic, but not loyal. Should their host falter in will, their wings may turn, dragging them into the sky or tearing free mid-flight. To control a parasitic wing is a mark of strength. To be controlled by it is a death sentence. These grotesque appendages are as much a challenge as a tool, constantly testing the worth of one who dares bear them. Yeah, so this is their kind of mount. It's just literally these wings that grow into your back, latch on with their little suction mouths, and then, grow into you.
It emphasizes the discipline, once again, that you must have in order to be Unbound. And that's cool. I think in any aspect, it's reinforcing that you fuck up, things are going to get worse. And,
that price of failure.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're flying on wings that can just detach themselves at any point in time. Like, you screw up once.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah.
Love it.
Alpha Primus asks an interesting question. Would you do a will test instead of a battle shock test on tabletop?
Love that.
Okay. I haven't played 10th, so I don't know, but if Court likes it, sure.
I just think flavor-wise, like, that sounds really cool. You test your will, and you can even do something almost like we talked about, like the perils of the warp, like on, if you're doing any sort of like casting or something like that on a miscast, like on Snake Eyes, you just fucking explode into Chaos Spawn. Just like, that's flavorful. There it is. Like, you just, boom, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't remember what number you have to get when you're doing a when you're doing a Perils of the Warp test. But then there's one. It's either a 0 or a perfect 100. Then the warp just eats you. It literally just belches you out.
That's cool.
Nice.
So, so we're talking about beasts. We talked about the winged parasites, and now we get to the cool stuff: the demon engines. I always thought these were really cool, and one of the things that really made the Iron Warriors cool in my book. Of course, that got ruined by the monkey lava. Anyways, demon engines of the Unbound, like dark drakes, are not built but awakened, infused with warp echoes and violent purpose. They are autonomous horrors, flying, grinding, shrieking death machines that burn with hunger for control. Each one is a machine possessed by its own ambition. Dark drakes are demon engines forged not in the warp forges of the Dark Mechanicum, but in the depths of the Black Mirror Sea. Machines animated not by servitude, but by stolen will and fragmented identity. These draconic constructs are part engine, part demon, part echo of some long-forgotten fear. Their metallic scales shift like liquid, and their eyes burn with a light that devours instead of shines. They do not follow commands, they follow patterns of intent, emotion, and ambient fear. To summon one is to not build a war machine, but to awaken it from dormancy. Dark drakes are rarely bound for long. They turn on those who exhibit weakness, drawn to fresh ambition. In the material realm, they descend like falling nightmares, exhaling beams of warp fire and tearing through tanks like paper. They are unbound monstrosities, flight, flame, and fear given living form. And then for the model, obviously some souped up version of a Helldrake, which, I mean, that's pretty sick. I love the Helldrake model.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I would quite soup it up, but like you said, you just soup it up somehow, and maybe the soup up is just a very distinct paint job. When doing the demon engines, I wasn't fully sure if I should include them. We know about the soul of Forge, or the Forge of Souls, where all the demon engines are made, and how they all swear their loyalty to the Forge and all that, and they bring their wreckage back. And I kind of just thought, well, that's literally the opposite of Unbound. Like, now these demons are swearing themselves to engines and stuff. Like, I didn't like that vibe at all. So then I kind of came up with this, where they just kind of somehow manifest themselves. And maybe they're not true demon engines in the full sense of the word, of like actually physically wired machines that then get corrupted. Maybe they're more just like metal that gets corrupted,
Yeah.
But that was kind of my thought.
That's cool.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Like all forges, and Fuzz can attest to this if he's still in the chat, like create some kind of waste or some kind of trash that's just not usable, so that gets discarded. What if everything that's discarded from the soul forges and is just thrown out into the abyss that is the warp, the endless ocean, just like trash, and it gets picked up by these unnamed entities?
Yeah,
That's
I like
cool.
that. That then explains how those machine parts get into the warp, because I was kind of like getting hung up on that. But yeah, I like that.
And then you don't have to worry about them swearing allegiance to Vashtor or any of the forges, because it's just trash that they picked up and used.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, that was all the Unbound legions. We can go into the cult of the Unbound, like the mortal followers. But maybe before we do you want to ask that question there, Court?
Yeah, so I'm just curious, like talking about the legions of the Unbound. If being unbound is serving yourself, and I know we talked about them kind of being chaotic, no pun intended, but just like very unstructured in their formations and things. But how would you have unbound troops that serve a master that's unbound? Because then aren't you subject of something? Like,
Yeah,
does
I
that
get
work?
exactly like we pretty much just said it with the Soul Forge. That was my whole hiccup. Like, why would they? Yeah. So earlier, I kind of gave you that line about they manifest when fear is at critical mass, and I kind of would maybe expand on that point where it's like you can't summon these guys. There's no way to bind them. There's no way to do any of that stuff. They appear when they need to, like when the situation arises that causes them or whatever, and that's it. And then they disappear. The mortal followers, yeah, they're not summoning these demons necessarily. They might maybe fight alongside them if they appear, but that's if they appear.
So is it more so a case of like the demon prince, the leader and everything is the unbound and everything else is just kind of either manifesting in its own destiny, and like we know that there's this pool of warp happening here. There's something happening. There's fear. There's hatred. So it's going to coalesce into war. But the mortals are just kind of I don't know, tools within it, or it's hard to kind of rectify the idea in my head, like to how it goes. And maybe that's the idea. Maybe that like I can't figure out how this works, therefore it works. Truly, like it is so chaotic that I can't define it, and it being undefinable is what makes it kind of work.
Yeah. Yeah, now the other solution, and I'm not totally sure how much I like it, is just do away with the demons completely. Because I was on the fence with them, and I thought I came up with some good ones and how to kind of manage it, but it does open up some holes. Yeah.
I'm all about it though. I like the demon aspect. I would almost not call them demons.
What would you call them?
I don't know, but like demon to one is angel to another, and in this sense, I think the association with the word demon gets to be too like pigeonholed in like allegiance for one form or something. I don't know, but yeah, I fucking love the idea.
I almost feel like you can sort of treat it like how random like the orcs rule set can be sometimes, where instead of like an actual legion or army of unbound, it's just like you're operating like 10 different units that are doing their own thing, and then the roll of the dice just dictates whatever that unit will do. So
maybe like the warp pushes them that direction. Like where as much as you are controlling the warp is symbiotic with you, where you have coalesced to this point where things are now working together. Towards a common goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Good.
Yeah, I have some drawing board things, I guess, to go through still, but this is all good.
It's all good though. Like it's so cool, the concept. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you run into these same hiccups even when you talk about the normal chaos gods, and like so it's nothing unworkable. I just looked at the clock and we're at an hour and 37 minutes. And we are only half done this episode. So I think actually instead of going on to the mortal followers, we'll take a call in or two. And this is going to turn into a two-parter instead of going to the wee hours of the night.
I think it's worth it. I think this has so much to offer. And it really, like, the Night Lords kind of tickle my fancy of like, ooh, if I was to do a Chaos Army, they look so cool and I like it, and they're, gothic and this and that. But then I read this and I'm like, ooh, fuck. Maybe I would do that. Because there's so many fun conversion opportunities too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that way, if you want to run demons but not necessarily follow any of the four major chaos gods, here's your avenue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we got a call in. Hottie, give me a little nod if you're ready. Hey there. Welcome to the show. You might be muted. We'll just do a little... Yeah, no worries. Take your time. You guys want to hear a joke?
Yes.
Sure. What do you call a black ninja?
Invisible?
No, his name.
Oh.
It's not the best joke. I was forced. I was on the time limit.
Oh man.
Hottie, I don't know. I can't hear you coming through.
We can see your amazingness, though. It's there.
Mhm.
It's there for sure.
Maybe let's go to somebody else, and we will come back to you and try. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Okay,
oh.
gotcha.
He speaks.
Yeah, I'm using my work laptop because I'm working in the background, and it always has problems.
Attaboy.
It drives me mad. So yeah, I just whipped out the headphones, and that seems to fix it. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. Sorry, I've just seen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
But yeah, I enjoyed this because I always thought Unbound and Undivided were basically the same thing. Like Abaddon, Be'lakor, they're undivided. You know, they use the Four for their own purpose, but don't want to lean into any particular one because obviously they don't. They want to keep that balance of power. But like, although I say Be'lakor, I don't know. I feel like Be'lakor, yeah, he's undivided, but he also kind of serves himself more than the gods, whereas Abaddon will use the gods for his own ends. Bellacor's kind of like, nah, man, I'll just do my own thing. So he kind of blurs the line a bit. But like, I do like how like renegades, etc., are more unbound, and like they are a separate thing. Like I legit thought they were just the same thing, and people just swapped the words out. But this is like really cleared it up.
Yeah, like, and this is the thing. Like, this whole concept is not my concept. Like, I have expanded it, but like GW has kind of teased this idea and almost has always called it undivided. And we got demon princes like Perturabo, who's a demon prince of undivided. And you're like, well, then who the fuck gave him his power if no god gave him his power if he's undivided? Because at one point it was, yeah, you don't really worship the gods, and it was you worship multiple gods, and they've kind of flip-flopped and like, yeah. So like you said, this really separates these two concepts and makes it clear, distinct, because you can use the warp in many ways.
Yeah, and I feel like Perturabo, he would definitely use the warp, but he wouldn't use the gods. Because like I can't remember, I think he has a battle with Mortarion. I saw it on weirdly TikTok, and it was like there was apparently like a continent-sized battle. And at first, Perturabo was winning because his like demon engines and his demon this and his demon that were like absolutely like shafting Mortarion. But then Mortarion's like Nurgle, the rot started rotting out the machines and things. So it's like I feel like in that sense, Perturabo is using the warp in the same way that Vashtar is. He's shoving demons into machines, but he's not in that situation serving a god. He's serving himself. He's like, I want your shit, I'm gonna take it. So it's like, yeah, he's more of a architect of the warp than, which kind of fits this whole build thing, rather than someone that serves a god. Like he'd rather just build like a demon engine, but he doesn't care if it's a Khorne demon or if it's a Nurgle demon. He's like, just get in my engine, man.
Yeah. Some people just want to build demon engines, and I think let them.
Yeah.
I think it's rad.
Have we ever seen like a demon titan? I know we've got demon knights, like the Abominant, but I've never heard of a demon titan, and I think that'd be right up Perturabo's street, to be honest. Like, can you imagine him just like taking one over?
I have seen Instagram posts of people converting like Warhound Titans into like full blown just like greater demons. Some geared towards one god or another, and then some that are just straight up demonic without any particular influence. So I don't see why it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
It's just you just
my
don't
two
hear
thoughts
about
are
it, do you?
My two thoughts are not all greater demons are built the same size. We could have some very big greater demons out there running around, Titan scale ones. For example, we got Angrath the Unbound, who, if you're looking, you can see this is a little space marine right here. So he's probably knight size at the very least. Maybe even Warhound size, maybe.
I was listening.
He's an 888 point model, so he's fucking huge.
I was listening to your episode on. I think it was the first one you did in the city, like the Chaos A to Z thing, and Christian suggested a Balrog. Yeah, and I like the idea of a Balrog because like they do come in all shapes and sizes. But I remember, I think I read in, I want to say the Silmarillion, Morgoth, the original Dark Lord. He had Balrogs of different sizes. Like he had a whole army of them. So obviously he had the orcs and stuff, but he was like, you know what? Like Balrogs, obviously in Lord of the Rings, are very rare and very, you know, big bad. Like if you've ever played Shadow of War, like you fight a Balrog and it goes on and on and on the thing. But yeah, it's like imagine like if you were playing as Morgoth, you're fielding like a Balrog that's like at a couple of inches tall all the way up to like Titan size. I imagine that'd be quite good. That's like what you're getting at. Like you'd have demons of different sizes. You're gonna have a demon that's gonna go toe to toe with a Titan, and then you're gonna have a demon that's gonna struggle with like a dreadnought.
Yeah, because every demon has its own, like every demon's made with its own power level, its own personality, unique traits, and all that kind of stuff. Size, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you've got it. No demon is going to win against the dreadnought from Space Marine 2, though. Fuck out of here!
Fuck you, nerd! I cast rock.
I remember because I'd seen all that clip beforehand before I played it, and then I played it. And I was like, when is this guy gonna? Oh my god, he did the thing! I was like a little kid. I was like a child.
That's cool.
That's so funny. Love it. Cool. Any other thoughts there? We got a couple of the call-ins we could get to.
Just join the Patreon and of course fuck Christian. You know, the usual.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally.
Just the usual.
The usual.
But yeah, it's been a really informative episode. Like I thought I knew a lot about Chaos, and there's still stuff to learn.
Yeah.
Hadi, what part of the world are you in?
I'm in the UK, so it's actually like 3:30 in the morning here, but I work night. Okay. I'm a corporate shill. I won't say the name of the company, but like you can probably imagine it's a big company.
What part of the UK?
The Midlands. So I don't know if you know Stratford upon Avon, where Shakespeare's from.
I mean, I've heard of it. That's
I'm sort of in like a triangle between there, Birmingham, and Oxford. So I'm like kind of in the middle of the three. Okay. So I literally, like the town I live in, everyone commutes to like Birmingham, London, Oxford. Like it's nobody actually works in the village. Like the village has fuck all in it. But yeah.
So off topic, but who's your EPL team?
My EPL team? Oh,
yeah.
English Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't follow football. I'm a rugby guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, like football like drives me mad, and also like oh man, like literally I'm watching it and I'm like, he's kicked the ball again, and I'm like, these guys get paid more than me to do something. I'm like, that guy.
That's sports.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Whereas at least rugby, you get hurt, man.
Fair enough. That's good.
Yeah, fair enough. I will leave and carry on watching.
Cool. Thanks, Hadi. All right, we got a couple next one. Let's do Marine Rat 644 because I've never seen your name and it's always fun talking to a person I've never met before. We'll get you a second to kind of get ready. I seen you on
rolling the dice.
Roll that dice. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey, this is my first time in a live recording.
Nice. I hope you don't embarrass yourself.
All right. I had a question for Malal. Does he have Space Marines that kind of follow him around, like worship?
He has the Sons of Malice.
I had an idea. What if the Sons of Malice were what's left of the 2nd or 11th Legion? They just weren't all annihilated, and that's what happened to the Primarch. He fell to Malal, but then was killed by Dark Angels or the Space Wolves.
Yeah, obviously there's no facts going off that, but it is a fun thought. Like, what did happen? Like, I think one of them fell to chaos for sure. When we know about the unknown, it's like one is lost and one, I forget the word. One's lost and one fell or has fallen, implying that he went to chaos. So yeah, maybe they went to chaos. Maybe he was like a madman, truly mad, truly a follower of Malal.
Yeah.
Possible.
Sure. Well, I like that, and at the idea of the emperor trying to shield and deceive those that doesn't want people to know about chaos. Like, how do you explain Malal if you don't even know what chaos is? So
I mean,
these
you can't
guys
really explain Malal because, or what if the Primarch for one of those is a demon prince of Malal? He's just too insane. He doesn't remember.
Yeah, so what you do is you just redact that, scratch it out. So I think that's a cool narrative to try and come up with. So right on.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so nervous. I don't
No
know why.
need. No need, man.
No need.
I have been trying to find people to talk about Warhammer for a long time. My first interaction with Warhammer was the Sisters of Battle on a YouTube short. That was my first introduction to Warhammer.
You were looking for other things and you came across that, eh?
I was just doom scrolling and I found it. It kind of just popped up on my feed. And then
If it makes you feel any better.
And I started delving into a rabbit hole. I've not stopped digging.
If it makes you feel any better, my first exposure to Warhammer was the Flash Gets YouTube parody cartoon.
Oh my gosh.
Black Templars versus
No.
Furries. That was my first exposure.
The Furpocalypse?
And you
The Furpocalypse. The Furry Crusades, I stuck with. I'm like, okay, these Black Templars are cool. Let's see what they're all about.
I'm fucking in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Lord.
Nice.
That is quite the origin story.
Where do you live?
I'm in
you
the
live in, like, a big
US
city?
of A. No, I do
Okay.
not live in the city. I live in the countryside.
Okay, so then that makes hard to find Warhammer people for sure. I was hoping maybe we could point you
Yeah.
to the direction of
Yeah.
someone. But
I've tried
Are
to get my brother to do it, but he's
Are you playing at all?
doesn't
Like, have
wanna
you
do it.
built minis and painted and
No,
stuff?
I've not started the plastic crack addiction.
What kind
You're
of
getting
draws your eye though? Like, if you were going to start an army, where would you kind of go?
It's kind of a hard question
It's a tough question. I know.
because I want to be a loyalist. Because I had an
Okay.
idea for a homemade guard army.
All right.
I'm trying to think of the name of the planet, but the concept would be like mountaineering guard. They mostly fight in the mountains.
That'd be sick.
The mountaineering Marines would be their special forces, like snipers, demolitions.
nice, yeah.
Do it. Go for it.
Like, what's special about them? The planet they're taken off of is mainly like a mountainous death world. So climbing to them is like second nature.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what kind of combat tactics a force like that would kind of develop. Like, yeah, you're fighting in the mountains, but like, are they master ambushers? Like, do they jump down with jump packs from the top of the mountains onto people? Like, what's kind of their...
I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm really new to Warhammer. I've only Warhammer like last year.
Okay.
They're just a bunch of Mounties, Mark. Get your Canadian Mounties.
But yeah, I was thinking about like they have like special cleats on their boots and grips on their gloves that they could climb easier.
For kicking ass and choking orcs. Oh, for climbing, yes, of course. Yes.
No,
Yeah,
for
could be,
killing orcs, they have shovels. They go full Krieg.
Okay.
Glorious.
It could be a lot of, like you said, like mountain climbing and then doing some sort of like base jump thing. So using jetpacks, rappelling, a lot of rope stuff.
Like more of a special operations unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. If you do buy a kit, maybe just buy some that new kill team of Tempestus Scions with their jump packs or whatever. That'd be a great starting spot. Like,
yeah.
I was
You
just
won't
gonna
go
say a
wrong.
kill team would be perfect for these guys. I think something
Oh, yeah.
specialist.
Yeah.
Something good to start off. The golden rule that I learned getting into this hobby, and this is for anyone else that is looking to buy it: pick the faction you think looks the coolest and whose lore you like.
The rule of cool, baby.
Always.
Yep.
Rule of cool.
Preach it, Gerald. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I
Don't
think
meta chase. Don't.
Please
If you,
don't meta
if you
chase.
start in this hobby meta chasing, get the fuck out.
Get out of my Discord.
Yeah.
This ain't the hobby for you.
Nah.
'cause rules
usually
change
the
all
metas
the
look
time.
the worst,
Yeah,
and the meta
just-
maybe will only last like a month or two, and then it will change.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
fine if you get into that, but like don't start the hobby that way at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But I've
well,
also-
any other thoughts there, or?
no, not really. The episode's really good.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
no,
joining
it was a
us.
fun one. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
We got
And
a
on
couple
the-
other new people here too that I've never seen
Yeah.
the face of, so I don't know what was today, but lots of new people.
Yeah.
Or in the Discord, what kind of roller tag do I need? Because I'm in the tithe. I don't have any tags, and I
what's
didn't
your,
know who to contact.
Yeah, you contact me. You
Murray-
contacted the right guy. What's your
Murray
Discord
Rex-
name, and I'll hook you up.
Same one as in here.
Okay.
I just had a different one on Patreon.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll hook you up after the show. Give
I
you
pay
tithing.
I pay the Emperor's tithe.
Why do you leave it?
I
Good
send
man.
I send my daily dose of guardsmen to go get killed for the Emperor.
Good, bad.
Beautiful.
Good, bad. All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Hope to see you again.
Yep.
Adios. All right. We got time for, I think, one more. And just because, oh my goodness, is it possible? Could it
is
be?
possible.
Holy moly, it's
I have
Jimmy.
returned. Can you hear
Is
me?
it he?
Am I coming through?
Wow. Yeah, you are, man.
Oh,
That's
nice.
good.
How you guys doing?
Oh, man, I'm
Good.
caught off guard by that.
Good.
Perfect. Awesome. Chaos Unbound. You know,
Yeah.
you just let it loose. Go
Yeah,
all
you
directions.
just let it go.
You get punched in the face. You get licked by Slanesh.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was you're getting sucked.
Well, yeah, somebody's sucking, somebody's
So-
getting sucked. I don't know. How you guys doing? You've been rocking the podcast lately. It's been great.
Yeah, man. We've been going hard. Next episode is episode 200.
That's crazy. It's
Crazy.
been wild.
Where we, yeah. Do you remember when we started? It almost was a year ago, maybe?
Yeah, it was just a little over a year ago.
Or just a little over. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, man.
It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot. I think some of my favorite episodes that we've done have been, oh man, I hate to say it, but the fucking Dark Angels Primarch episode series. There's been a couple Primarchs that, the Genghis Khan one was pretty good too. There's been a couple that just gun to my head. Oops.
You got to
good.
do them. You got to do them. You have to give the people what they want. This is a simpcast here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just came by to say mostly hello and
Yeah.
give you guys a props. Keep going. It's been awesome.
man.
Keep crushing it.
Nice.
Do we
Well, it's
send
good to
all
be-
complaints still?
You know what?
Your
I haven't
way.
heard anybody complain. It must
Oh,
mean that
man.
you guys are
Oh,
like
man.
nailing the lore. Everything
All
is
right.
accurate. You guys have got nothing wrong. There's been
Not
no
a single one, eh?
I haven't been paying attention.
No, yeah, the last one was like way back in February.
That's
In
incredible. You guys are killing it on the lore. Not a single mistake. Nothing that's
Never.
even controversial. Like you guys have been just getting into
Never.
that mainstream lore, and
no.
there's
Mark's
nothing
all
controversial about
mainstream.
Primarchs.
Yeah.
That's so funny. All right, well,
I
cool.
I won't extend your stream too long. I just want to say hi. Keep killing it, guys.
Good to see you.
See you around.
Adios.
Thanks,
See you,
James.
man.
Wow, what a world. What a great way to end it, seeing an old friend's face. It's funny there for a second, I almost didn't recognize him, like in the down chat, until I kind of brought him up.
That's cool.
It's been so long. Miss
That's
that
really
guy.
cool.
Well, Chaos Unbound. This was part 1 officially. I guess tomorrow will be part 2. a lot of fun. We still got a lot to go through to kind of build out this faction fully. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Court, Gerald, thanks for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure being here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And yeah, adios. We'll see you all on the next episode.